This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 71 of the Dressage Radio Show on the Horse Radio Network, brought to you by Back on Track with the generous support of Equestrian Collections and Kentucky Performance Products. This is the Dressage Radio Show coming to you from the Alltech Pavilion at the Alltech FEI World Equestrian Games, day 2 of competition at the Grand Prix, where the medals were decided today. And I'm joined by Patrick Kittel from Sweden, who has been a friend of the Dressage Radio Show, been a guest already. Patrick, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. It's a great pleasure to be back, and that live on Aut here. That's great.
Isn't it fun? Well, we're going to talk to you, and we're going to talk to your fiancée, who you know last time you were on the show, you told me you were one of the happiest mans around.
That's still true.
It's still true. Absolutely. Your fiancée, Lyndall Oatley, who of course rode for Australia and still rides for Australia.
Absolutely.
Welcome to the show,
Thank
Lyndall.
you.
Nice to have you here.
Nice to be here.
Well, we're recording, as I said, from the Alltech Pavilion, bringing you daily coverage here on the Dressage Radio Show. Well, today, of course, medals were decided. Not too many surprises, but it was a very, very eventful day. And we're going to talk to Patrick and Lyndall a little bit because they've been watching. They both rode yesterday, so they were watching today. Not too surprising that the gold medal went to the Netherlands, and Germany in second place took the silver. But Great Britain beat the Americans to the bronze medal. So
I have to correct you there. Actually, the Great Britain who took silver.
It took silver, yeah.
And Germany took bronze.
And Germany
that was actually quite a big of a surprise. I mean, Laura Bechtolsheimer did an amazing round and had almost 82% today, and
deserved every point.
It was really good.
Was that not the most beautiful ride?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Best she's ever done.
Yeah.
She got a couple of tens on the last center line, and the horse really looked good, and Laura really settled in well. So we were really pleased to see that.
You know, I'm not used to saying Great Britain silver medal, Patrick. That's why it was throwing me, and I was trying to look at all my results as well at the same time, and to say, I think, no surprises with Totilas going into the lead as an individual. That's kind of a given, right?
That was quite a given, yeah.
Yeah, but, we've watched Laura and her riding over the years and improving the way she has, but that horse and ride, they just were so on today. And I know she was splattered with tens. I'm just looking at my notes here, where she had 2 tens in a Piaffe and a 10 for an extended canter and half pass and Piaffe to Passage, or Passage to Piaffe, I should say. But what was really touching, I don't know if you noticed the background music when she finished her test. As she was coming down the centre line, it was Land of Hope and Glory, of course, Algar's Land of Hope. It was absolutely perfect, and I kind of picked up on it being an expat myself, but it created a fantastic atmosphere. I thought it was absolutely stunning.
Well, you have to say also this people now who does the music in the background, they are so clever. They do for every ride a different music, and every ride has some, like we mostly ride to ABBA, the Swedish people, of course. Laura now rode to London and Glory. I mean, every country has their own music, and that just, the little details to make dressage so lovely as it is. Yeah. No, it really was a fabulous day sport. We got some nice weather here in the horse park.
Finally, after yesterday.
After yesterday, which affected the crowds, I think, a little bit yesterday.
Yeah, it was a bit quiet in there.
But today we got some sunshine. It was starting off a bit cooler, but I think we got a little bit of an atmosphere. The main grandstand there was pretty full. Certainly this afternoon when all the top riders were going, where the medals were going to be contested. So you got to see most of the rides. Did you saw Totilas as well?
I saw almost all the rides today, and I have to say, Totilas was, of course, it's not the best ride I've seen him. I've seen him do better. I think in Aachen for a couple of months ago he was unbelievable. It's a little bit like in the Piaffe, he jumped a little bit here, but still in the basic he was amazing. Of course, sad day for Adelinde Cornelissen with Parseval, who is one of the best combinations in the world. The horse bit his tongue really lightly, but Stephen Clark at sea saw that and had to bail her out today. It was really sad. She was one of the absolute contestants for the medals.
And that left half pass before that little hiccup was amazing. Such fluency and the reach, and I was thinking this is going to be such a good test, and then to have such heartbreak right after
extraordinary. I mean, to have two horses eliminated in the Grand Prix, and you had to feel for Adelinda. Came in here as obviously a serious contender, as you say, Patrick, and for a medal. She was going to push Totilas all the way for sure, and absolutely heartbreaking for her because it was at the beginning of the test, and apparently I hear that by the time she got to the gate where she was leaving, it was over and done with.
Yeah, there was the team vet, who's also the owner of my horse Scandic. He showed me a photo, and it was so minimal. He must have done it just in the hold for the reinback. It was really little, but of course the judge saw it and he had to bail her out like the regulations are. But before then she was on 82 or 83%, which is of course could have been in the same league as Totilas.
Yes, undoubtedly that was going to be the main battle here between those two, of course, and Laura so close up there, it would have I think it been all about those three. Of course, we got to the end of the competition, the last horse to go, Stefan Peters and Ravel, to determine whether the Americans got on the podium at all, but it was not to be. But we made history. I mean, got to be the first time ever that the British have beaten the Germans.
Yeah, huge deal.
They did it last year in Windsor on the Europeans, actually.
Oh, good memory, Patrick. Good medal, good memory.
Good memory. They were second last year as well, and Germany got bronze last year. Okay. What I think is that, of course, everybody was very interested in seeing Stefan Peters go again. Ravel looked in a good shape, had small mistakes here and there, which of course cost him, but he would have had to do almost 81-82% for them to beat the Germans. So he had quite a tough run if they would have taken the third place.
Yeah, and I think a lot of pressure on Stefan, of course, who's very experienced and could take it. But, after Carl Hester, who, of course, was our guest last night on the show, was nervous, and he knew a lot depended on him as the third rider to pull off a really good test to ease the pressure off Laura. And as he said to me actually afterwards, he knew he had to do that, and he rode a beautiful test, didn't he?
That's one that I didn't get to see, which I wish I had seen. That and Fiona also. I think Fiona did a really good job for the British team, getting a 70, and I think she really pulled her socks up and really put a good effort in for the team. So I think it was a good overall effort from each member of that team to get them where they were. Obviously Laura is the strongest of the team, but the others were very consistent, did good jobs, did what they had to do. So I think the team really was brought up and they deserved that silver medal.
Yeah, it really was. History in the making, if it can beat the Germans like that. Well, we should talk also a little bit about the German rides today, Patrick. With Isabel and Verumnicht, you see that's such an established combination. But now that we're raising the bar with the other team, with the other countries, that it's noticeable, isn't it?
No, and I mean, Isabel is a great rider. I mean, she's done so many medals, and I mean, she did what she could today. The horse did good, I have to say. She was happy with that ride. I talked to her and she said she was happy with it. But it's just a couple of people there, like Laura and Edward, and also even Stefan, who just has a little bit more quality in it, a little bit more height and step in the Piaf Passage Tour. That just makes it a couple of points more. It
does. It really does. Well, we're going to take a short break here, but when we come back, we're going to talk about your rides yesterday and catch up a little bit on how you guys went for your respective teams. So don't go away. We'll be back in just a second.
Are you attending the World Equestrian Games right now? If so, stop by Back on Track's booth, number 418, to see why so many professional dressage riders, eventers, and show jumpers from around the world use Back on Track's therapeutic products for themselves and their horses. Top dressage rider Michelle Gibson says, Back on Track's new exercise boots are the best exercise boots ever. Back on Track is a therapeutic product line used on horses to help keep them sound. From blankets to knee boots to hock boots to leg wraps. Check out them at the World Equestrian Games booth number 418 or online at backontrackproducts.com. That's backontrackproducts.com.
Well, we're back with Patrick Kittel, my guest this today from Sweden, who rode yesterday with Scandic, and of course his fiancée, soon-to-be wife, Lyndall Oakley, who also went yesterday for Australia. So let's talk about Well, ladies first. Let's go with let's go with Lyndall. You rode just before lunch yesterday, Lyndall, in the Grand Prix, of course, for Australia. Tell us about how it was for you.
Yeah, for me it was an awesome experience. It's my first time ever being on the team for WEG and being a representative of Australia. So for me, I was very proud. My horse has been very sensitive in the past, and for me to even be here was a big goal. And I achieved that, and then I got in there and he focused and gave me a really good feeling. A couple of small communication errors, but the overall feel was fantastic, and I was really proud of him. Really great feeling.
My guess is this is your first time in the Kentucky Horse Park.
Spot on.
Yeah.
I'm going to get those boots soon. I'm really excited. Good old cowboy boots. Get into the real Kentucky experience.
There you go. Well, what have your impressions been of competing here as a competitor and as a visitor?
Yeah, I think they've been very warm and welcoming to us. We're very lucky. I think the Americans have been very accommodating of us. We have a great hotel where the team is staying at. The facilities are very good. A little bit nervous with the steeplechasing going up to the main arena. That's a little terrifying with the jazz, but I think it's the same for most people. So that's a bit tricky, but no, I think it's been overall an amazing experience. And also for my first representation as a rider, it's been really interesting to see behind the scenes, all the dramas and you realise just how special it is to actually get in that arena and finish your test and not just be a member of the team, but actually be able to ride it. Yeah. So I'm really thankful and really lucky.
Well, we should obviously we have a huge audience in Australia who love to hear from Australian riders, no matter where they are, and we should explain your family connection for your listeners back home. Your family connection, the other Oatley.
Yeah, the other Oatley. Yeah. It's often Patrick's fiance or Christy's cousin. But
there you go.
Christy Oatley is my cousin, and she's obviously paved the way for Australian dressage and been very successful. And she's currently at home getting ready for our wedding. Actually, she's there now, and so she's been feeling a bit envious and feeling a little left out of it this time, but Christy's a fighter and she'll be their next team. But no, that's where the history comes from. Our best ever rider is my cousin, and now I'm hoping to follow in her footsteps and make my own path and become a good rider as my own person.
I'll remind our listeners how long you've been based in Europe.
Yeah, it's about 4 years now, actually. I've been based. It was never my intention to stay. I originally had planned just to stay until Hong Kong and try and qualify for that, but things changed. I met the little blonde Swede sitting next to me, and things progressed from there, and now I'm living in Europe and commuting home as often as I can.
Is that right? Where is home in Australia?
Home is Sydney.
Okay.
I live just outside of Sydney in a place called Galston, which is kind of like the dressage hub of Australia. So everyone's from there. Rachel's from there, and so it's a good place to be. But I miss home, but I'm also would miss this thing if I wasn't around him. So it's also life works well.
This thing being the future. Well, let's talk a little bit more about the Australian performances here, because Brett Parbury went today, and you will have watched him. What's the feeling from the Australian camp now about how they all performed?
Yeah, I think overall we're pretty happy. Unfortunately for Hayley, that was a bit of a disappointing experience and not expected. So that was really heart-wrenching for all of us to watch and see. So that was disappointing. But as a team, I started off first and did the best job I could, setting the basis for the team and a good start. I did that, and then Rachel went in, and I was super impressed with Rachel because it's a difficult horse and she's struggled through, and she's also based from home, so it's a little bit more difficult.
Sure.
But she rode really well and just was so consistent and good rhythm, good tempo, good frame, and she did what she had to do and got a great score, and she's into the special. Then the next rider was Hayley, and that didn't go to plan.
Well, explain it to her exactly, who she was riding and what happened in that test today.
Hayley was riding a little mate rally, and obviously for those who have seen and watched at Hong Kong, she rode him in Hong Kong and actually got to the special and was our only Australian representative in the special in Hong Kong, and really established partnership, and she was devastated. He felt he was a little bit in pain in the warm-up. She was a little concerned but didn't think anything was going on because she was pushing, and he felt very sound, and she said just as she went across the short end and went to the extended trot, she really felt it. And so bailed her out, and then she had to walk back to the judge and confirm what she felt and leave. And then, unfortunately for Hayley, a bit of a difficult situation. Then she was pricked to do a doping test and then another fitness test. So it was really difficult time for poor Hayley. And so he's back in the stable now, and she'll recuperate him as best she can. They don't know yet what the injury was. And
which leg was that?
The front leg. Yeah, there was a front leg. The judges thought it was right hind, but I think from what I understand from the swelling, it could be the left front. So we'll see. We'll see. But sad moment for us.
Yeah, very sad. Do they know how it happened?
No, no idea at the moment. We'll see what happens. questions and see what the vets come up with afterwards. But we've got a pretty upset little Hayley in the stables right now, so we're all doing our best to look after her.
Well, an upsetment there, and an upsetment, as you said earlier, with the Dutch team, of course, losing Adeline Cornelissen. They were down to 3, and then, of course, Annabelle Balkenhol was the drop score for the Germans. But let's talk about your day yesterday, Patrick, with Scandic. We know that it's been off. We talked to you, of course, on the show a few months ago, and he had a quiet summer getting him back. Didn't go out much. So what was your preparation? Talk about your preparation, Patrick, for this competition.
Well, of course, the preparation hasn't been that easy. I mean, not being out, I did a Super World Cup final where I ended 5th, had a great score. I was 10th on the world ranking list, and Scandic was in a great shape. Then he covered quite a lot. And we discovered that he got a little bleeding in the hind leg. So my owner, who's obviously also a vet, said, take it a bit easy. And I didn't do any shows, but normally he's very good at shows. And then we came here, and he was like his 5-year-old again. He's bucking, he's jumping, he's really happy, like a bit over ecstatic. And that was exactly what happened yesterday in the test. He was just too hot. It was... I mean, a hot is always nice to have, but it was just a hotness that you could not control. He was bucking, he was piaffing in the collected walk. Of course, he canted in both extensions because he wanted to jump away. Not because he doesn't want to do it, it's because he's just so happy to do it and so hot to do it. So the temperature was maybe not ideal for me. And also when we came here, we had 35 degrees, and then he felt fine, but then it dropped. Like on my day of competition, we had maybe 12, 13 degrees, and that was also a bit surprising. Also, something that happened to me was that I was planned to do the second day, but then we had only 3 in the team, and we had a bad draw, which meant that I had to start already Monday. But originally, I was intended to start today, which of course made our planning totally go down the trash. And you can always blame on this and that, but in the end, it was just too much energy and not in place at the time when it was supposed to be.
So you didn't feel like when you were riding down to the stables to take him for a canter around the steeplechase course to calm him down a bit?
He was piaffing all the way down to the stables, so he piaffed for 10, I have to say, but it was he just gets very excited then, and he just needs a couple of shows again, and then he will be back in his old shape and form, and he will quiet down. I will do a couple of World Cup shows, go for next year Rotterdam, and you learn from every experience. And
how old is he now?
He's only 11.
Yeah.
And he's an amazing horse, and I love the Scandi Man, so I think he will be just fine. And we jog a little bit here, maybe do the steeplechase one day, and then and then we just do a couple of winter shows, and try to put this behind. I look forward to my lovely wedding in a couple of days, and that's the way sport is. Like we said before, Adelinde, one of the gold favorites.
How unpredictable is that of dressage?
Exactly.
There's so much can happen in the sport of eventing over 3 days, but with dressage, we almost broke world records today in the number of horses that were eliminated in one day.
Unbelievable.
2 horses.
Unbelievable. And also, like Jan Brink said to me one time, somebody said, well, dressage is easy. And he said, well, you have to be exact on the point. You have to have your horse exact prepared. It has to be exact on that moment, on that minute. He said, dressage is damn difficult. And, it is really like that. Anything can happen. You never know until the last rider is finished how the score's going to look like, what the placings are going to be.
Right.
That's dressage, but that also makes it so fun and exciting.
Yeah, that's the high level of the game, isn't it? It really gets so precise. Everything has to come together on the night. We're going to talk about the rest of the Swedish team in a minute, Patrick, but we'll take a short break and we'll be back to hear how the rest of the Swedish team competed in this Grand Prix dressage. So stay tuned. We'll be back in just a second.
Equestrian Collections is your source for all of your dressage and tack equipment needs. From Anki, Kiefer, Veridus, Bates, Vespucci, Wintec, and more. Shop in comfort and equip your dressage horse in style at equestriancollections.com. And become a fan on Facebook and join in one of the most vibrant communities on Facebook with over 23,000 fans. And you can win cool stuff there, too. Remember, that's equestriancollections.com for all of your dressage needs.
All right, we're back with Patrick Kittle and Lyndall Oakley. We're reviewing the day's competition, well, the 2 days of Grand Prix Dressage here, where the team medals were decided. And Patrick, we talked about your ride, but there were other members of the team. You're going to tell us how they felt about their performances.
Well, of course, just leading up to this, we had a little bit of bad luck because our fourth member just had a colic shortly before we were supposed to fly over. So we had to go with 3 people, which of course is a disadvantage. The rules is that now that if you only have 3 in team, you will get a lottery who's going to go. And they're going to change that rule. So actually, when you have 3 team members, you're going to be in place 2 and 3 and 4, so that every team goes in the goal on the same time, so to say. Now we had to start 1, 2, and 3, which of course is a huge disadvantage. And Minna Telde, I think she was happy with her ride. She's the only one from Sweden who qualified for the special. She has a really lovely mare. I think in a couple of years, when it gets a bit more secure and the judges know her a little bit better, she will be a high-scoring 70s. She's an amazing rider, and the horse is really nice. Tine Wilhelmsson had, like myself, a bad day. The horse put the tongue over the bit, and she lost the contact in the front. Even Stephen Clark said to her after, "I'm so sorry, but your horse put the tongue over," and jumped away in 3 piafs. And I think both Tine and myself rode on our lowest scores ever in Grand Prix.
Really?
And it was a black day. The Swedish had this weekend, it was a bit when you kick the goal, and it's always a little bit outside the goal.
Yeah.
And that's the way it is sometimes, you learn and you go on.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's what it's all about, because when you get to this level, you're fine-tuning, and it's so easy just to go over that edge, and we saw that a little bit with the Swedish team. But so you've got one rider that goes through to the special tomorrow. The top 30, of course, we should remind everybody, go through to the special, and then the top 15, of course, go to the freestyle on Friday. So it's all to play for now with these top 30. And so let's just talk about the other teams, not just the medalists now, because there was a little bit of shifting around. The Spanish went particularly well, didn't you think? What do you think?
It was amazing. What a great test. I thought that was fantastic. Came in, did a super solid test with a lot of flamboyance and a lot of expression, but also accuracy. I thought that was exciting. And they're a good team. They've done really well for themselves.
Yeah, they really have. It was a slight surprise, I think, that they weren't favourites for a medal.
They weren't favourites, but I saw Fuego also go in Kappeln, and he went amazingly in Kappeln. He finished second there, very close after Isabel with 75%, and he's just become better and better. Of course, Jan Bemermans, the national coach of Spain, always keeps his boys in a good, cheerful mood. They're great people. They're great fun, and they have a very good team spirit in Spain, which I would really like others to see. They are very, they're really helping each other, and I think that makes a good team.
Sure. Any individual performances today, Lyndall, that caught your eye over the past couple of days?
And to be honest, my highlight was really Laura. Laura today was my favourite of anything, even over Tortillas, to be totally honest.
Yes.
I thought she did such a super test, and I've watched that horse since she did her early on, I think 4 or 5 years ago, when she was trying to get through a test in Rotterdam. And it's Den Bosch, I lie. She was riding in Den Bosch, and the horse was cleaning up the arena. Now here it is, second place today. Brilliant test, really happy for her. So that was my highlight. And also on a personal touch was Rachel, because I know how hard she's worked for that. So that was pretty special to be part of that and to watch her. They were probably my 2 favourites in different aspects.
Two hard spots, okay. Did you see any of the Canadians, Patrick?
I saw all of them.
Did you?
I have to say, I love from Belinda Trussell, Anton. It's one of my favorite horses. She's a sweet girl. The horse is really nice. I think that's a horse that will have the future in front of himself. He has a lot of expression. He moves really nicely. She's very nice in the saddle. Bonnie Bonelli had a little bit difficult with the piafs today. He was a bit jumping around as well, as many horses did. I have to say that also, of course, Ashley Holzer, Pop Art, it's a very sweet horse. I love that horse. It just has the ears in front and does its test. But for me, for the Canadian, I have to say Anton is my favorite horse at the moment. It's a really pretty horse. I saw it in Aachen doing an amazing freestyle, and if she would have been on a little bit later, she would have had a couple of more points there. It's a really nice horse. I think if she does a good special, has really good Piaf Passage tour, she can be in the top 15. It's not impossible for her.
Well, we should give credit to Robert Dover, of course, our friend here on the Dressage Radio Show, been on a few times, and want to give a shout out to Robert because he's just done such a wonderful job with that team.
Well, and truly, and so passionate.
Oh,
Such a
absolutely.
passionate man. It's great fun to listen on the side of the arena. You can hear him a mile away. That's super. That's fantastic. But you just feel his positivity.
Yes.
You just want to do the same. He's really good for the sport and great for the Canadian team.
He certainly is, and he's really raised their game, I think,
Absolutely.
Well and truly. And their profile as a team. I think he's been very clever at promoting them in such a way that puts them in the limelight and puts them under the eyes of all the spectators and of the judges. And I think they've done also remarkably good jobs as individuals and as a team. And that's why they've got them here today with Robert's help. Great team.
And the endurance that finished on Monday was won by a Spanish rider who had a baby about 7 weeks ago, and she beat the shoulder shakes. She beat all the boys, and we should mention that there's just a segue here to Natalie Suzanne Wickenstein of Denmark, of course, who also took a break off to start a family. Did you see her go today?
I saw her go today. Did a brilliant test. I mean, Digby is not the biggest mover, but Natalie is an unbelievable correct rider. Yeah. The horse just, it starts off and you think, yeah, okay, it's nice, but then she starts doing Piaffe Passage and the horse just puts the hind legs under. Natalie, of course, a really very correct rider, sits really beautifully, and just didn't do any mistakes. And if you watch them all today, I think you just have to do a good, secure test, and then you have a good mark. But it's the mistakes that cost you too much. If you have a little mistake, you go down on 4 or 5. That just costs too much. And the people, like example Carl Hester, the horse is maybe not super expressive, but it does a really clean, really nice test. Carl's is a super rider. He's even got a 9 for seat. It's just, nice to look at, and that results in good points.
Yeah, you get rewarded for that kind of polished performance. And
absolutely.
Any of the other Danish riders, did you see any of those, Lyndall, go today?
I see. I wish I'd seen. Actually, I didn't get to see one of them, which is a real shame. I watched Sooner in the warm-up, and I thought he did a really good warm-up. I was interested to see that test, but unfortunately their timings were similar to the Australians a lot of the time when the warm-ups were on, so I didn't get to see them, which was unfortunate.
We should mention, of course, the Swiss. They didn't have a team. They had some individual riders. Did you see any of them?
I saw both of them, yes.
You did?
I know them both very well. They are super sweet girls. Corinth, of course, just such a little adorable horse, and also one of these horses that just went in. She did a test, got really high scores. I'm so happy for her. She was in Aachen. She was really not so happy in Aachen. She did a lot of mistakes. The Swiss Federation was almost contemplating not sending a team, and then they the 2 individuals, and then they sent them, and they did super here. So that's good for them.
Well, I just going to take a short break here, Patrick, and when we come back, we're going to look at how the Grand Prix Special is going to shape up tomorrow, and get your thoughts on how this is going to conclude. Now, you've got something of an easy week for the rest of the week for you guys, right?
Sadly, we would have had it differently.
It's a bit like tennis, you could get knocked out in an early round, right? But, and you get an early flight home. But
that's the way it is in sport, and, if it wouldn't be like that, it wouldn't be sport, so it's just to shape up and come back again.
All right, well, we're going to talk about what's to come here on the Dressage Radio Show when we come back from our break here, so stay tuned.
When horsemen were asked what they were looking for in a nutritional supplement for their horses, the answer was easy. One that is affordable, effective, and scientifically proven. Kentucky Performance Products took that message to heart and developed supplements that meet those needs. All of their supplements, from Nalox equine antacid to Summer Games electrolytes and joint armor, are formulated based on sound research. They are affordable so that you can count on them to deliver results. To choose the right KPP supplement for your horse, go to kppusa.com. Or to learn more about horse nutrition and interact with the experts at KPP, join their Facebook page. Just search for Kentucky Performance Products.
Well, I'm back here with Lyndall and Patrick as we summarise today's Grand Prix. And as I said, the gold medal went to the Netherlands, 229.745, unless Patrick's going to correct me now because I didn't even get the medals right at the top of the show. And in silver medal position, Great Britain with 224.767. Now, I must point out that these, at this time of recording, are provisional scores. They have not yet been confirmed. And when we came away from the stadium, Germany in the bronze medal position with 220.9 30.495, and Patrick is going to correct me, aren't you, if I'm wrong on this?
Yeah, I think you're pretty correct.
Am I more correct than I was at the top of the show?
Very correct now, and I definitely think that this will be the standings overall as well.
Yes.
Well deservedly. They all these three teams did great rounds. I mean, one to mention is Christoph Koschel, good friend of mine.
Absolutely.
He's such a great guy. His wife, they're lovely people. They work really hard with the dad together, and he did a super round. Just nice, he's a debutant in the team. He did a great job.
Yeah.
So I think the 1, 2, and 3 was absolutely well deserved as it was.
I mean, huge experience for him. Seems a very nice guy. I actually spoke to him the other day. Lovely guy.
You should interview him. He's a great guy.
Yeah. All right, maybe we can get you to come back and bring him along.
Bonding.
There you go, boy bonding. All right, well, we need to take a look at what's to come, Patrick. We've got the Grand Prix Special starting tomorrow morning, the crack of dawn. Well, actually, not too early. We've got 30 riders going to get through. For top 15 of those, go through and dance the night away on Friday to music. Looking at those that are at the top of that leaderboard now, what are your predictions, Patrick?
Well, of course. I mean, Totilas is I think he will definitely tomorrow. He's not allowed to do too many mistakes. Laura is a stronger one in the special. The Cure, I definitely think, is Edwards. That's nobody going to touch him in the freestyle.
You don't think even if Laura keeps going the way and even improves on it?
No. Not in the freestyle. Then something bad's going to happen.
That belongs to him.
The special is more open. Laura is a great special rider. The horse has fantastic Piaf Passage, like we saw today with a couple of 10s. If Totilas doesn't make mistakes, he will win. If he makes mistakes, it's going to be close. Of course, Laura also has to do the ride that she did today. I think it was the ride of her life today. I've never seen the horse go like that, and she was so happy after. It was really cool to watch and to see. Stefan Peters was not super in shape today. I think he did a couple of small mistakes, so if he cranks it up a bit, he can also be there in the top scoring. And Isabelle is also... I think Isabelle is a fighter, and never count her out.
Never.
And she finished 4th today, so never count her out. But it's also a couple of them coming, let's say, from 8th place to 1st place. They can all be in the battle of the top positions, absolutely.
Yeah. What are your thoughts? And you're going to agree with him because you're about to marry him?
No,
you better.
Yeah. The pressure now. I'm feeling like I have to back away. No, I agree, but I do think Laura can give him a challenge tomorrow, and I really hope she does. But I also think the little Spaniard, don't count out that little man, and I think he also rides a very good special. And like Patrick said at Capel, he was fantastic.
Just remind our listeners who that is.
With the little Spaniard with Fugo. He's a great horse, great combination, the leading member of the Spanish team, and deservedly so. That's my little pick. And I also, Patrick also mentioned Anton. I would really like to see that one crank up another notch tomorrow, and I think she can do it. Also on the Aussie front, bring on Brett. Brett's finished in the 15th place today, and he's got a good horse that can do the special very well. The strengths in Piaf Passage, and the Canter Tour is generally very consistent. So he would have a good chance of getting into the final, and I would love to see that for Australian sport. That would be brilliant. Yeah. So they're my outsiders, but obviously the top ones are going to battle it out for the top few medals.
The cream is going to rise to the top, as always. Huh? As always.
And also this test is, of course, a test where Piaf Passage come more into game. The special is quite a different test to the Grand Prix. The Grand Prix is, I think, a slight more based on the Canter Tour. If you have a good Canter Tour, you can get more points, but the special is more based on really good Piaf Passage Tour. If you have a horse that has easy to extended trot, collected trot, Piaf Passage, you can get a huge amount of scorings there. And we're going to be fun to see tomorrow, and we're going to be benched, that's for sure. Yeah,
you'll be there on the bench. So let's take it one step further then to the freestyle, Patrick. Any thought? I mean, obviously you think Totilas is unbeatable. Right?
Unbeatable. The night, the music he has, the spotlights, the arena's going to be full. It's apart from the vaulting freestyle, it's the only show that's sold out here.
Yes.
It's there was the first one that was sold out, and that's really good for the sport. I mean, for a long time, dressage was always thought of something that was just on the side of the jumping, and nowadays it's actually dressage really sells, and we are thrilled about that.
Well, you will know, of course, what happened in Vegas, that the warm-up, the practice days in Vegas
for
World Cup.
Even for that was incredible.
And did you watch Ed Gall warming up with Totilas at the warm-up area? Of course, that's very accessible for the public here.
Yeah.
That two sides of that where they could get it was 3D.
It was amazing.
It was
I
people.
know. Yeah, but he's such a cool horse. He's used to it, and
He loves
Edward is
it.
used to it, and I think it's great for the sport. Keep it like that.
Brilliant.
It's great for the sport. There's no doubt about it. And we're also confident about Edward Gall pulling this off with Totilas, and of course the crowd went wild today when he came in. And are we putting so much pressure on the rider? And now, from so much expectation on them, I mean, I mean, as a rider, how does that feel? If you were riding with people 3 deep around the warm-up area, does that put a pressure on you that affects your riding? How do you channel that?
I think you just have to, like, I'm sure for myself and also for Edward, we go into a bubble. You have your trainer in your ear, you're here, you focus on your horse. I think you learn to accept that. And of course, if you're like Edward, just a big pop star, basically,
yes,
you get used to it. You have to. If you want to be number one, you also have to be familiar with that people will adore you and people will look. People also criticize in between. And Edward is just fine with it. And I think the freestyle is going to be his night. I've seen him so many times. I know him really well. The music is awesome. The horse is fantastic. The spotlights, he comes in, he's black. It's like a fairy tale.
Yes.
So I think the odds is like 10,000 to 1 on him on that night.
10,000 to 1. Well, we're not going to bet.
Odd.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is so special to watch them now. It's almost like Totilas needs his own security detail to protect him from his adoring public. So it's going to be, as you say, very, very special here as we get towards the freestyle on Friday night. Now, tell us, before you go, Patrick, your experience here at the Kentucky Horse Park for the first time. Obviously, you're experienced on the Swedish team. Well, what has it so far been like being a competitor here?
It's been great. I mean, a couple of what I think is a little bit difficult is that every 4 year, of course, it's the World Equestrian Games, but every nation has it for the first time. So every nation kind of, makes a couple of mistakes. Like for myself, we had a bit difficulties with the familiarization. They changed that a couple of times. We were not allowed to ride with the lights on, which is, of course, for some horses a bit difficult. So it's just small things, but in the total, they've been fantastic here. We have great surfaces. We've been taken care of really well. It's just, you go to a new country, you see new people, you meet new people.
Sure.
It's amazing. And
it's a great experience all around, no matter what happens, isn't it?
No
you take
matter.
away memories that live with you forever.
Everybody. I mean, I saw the Japanese girl. She had a 64. She was in tears for happiness.
Gorgeous.
We had the Brazil girl. She was happy. Everybody's just happy with their performance to be here, no matter what level you are. If you're in the top 5 or if you're even in the bottom, but just to be on the World Equestrian Games, it's very few people that has that opportunity in a lifetime. Sure.
And we hope, of course, that especially the Europeans will go away from the Kentucky Horse Park with a great, experience and appreciation of what we have here in the Kentucky Horse Park, which is pretty special. I'm sure you've seen the indoor arena where the reignings are taking place. It's a terrific competition facility here, isn't it? I think the World Equestrian Games will really put it on the map. I don't think there's anywhere else in the world that can really beat us for the facilities.
Absolutely. And Alltech, of course, as a major sponsor of this, I have to say, has done a great job with this. They helped with the indoor for the reining here where we're sitting now at the moment. It's amazing, and it's just super to be here. They now also have the para riders involved, which I think is a great thing. I'm so happy. I watched them one day do their performances, and they're just the same. What do you call it? Like nervous. They are nervous. Their grooms are happy. It's just a great fun to watch as well. So. I think everybody, no matter what, will take a lot of good memories from here. Absolutely.
Well, we've got a lot more to come here. Of course, we'll be bringing you coverage from the Grand Prix Special tomorrow on the Dressage Radio Show. We're enjoying good weather here today, and I hope it's going to... I'm sure actually it's going to be, according to the forecast, we're going to have good weather here for the rest of the week. Nice to be on all-weather footing, though, as you said. I mean, no one's complaining about the footing out there.
Amazing footing in all arenas, really good. We have so many practices arenas. The indoor arena is good, and it's actually the public is quite far away, so it's not difficult to be in there. we're just looking forward to it and to see the special tomorrow and see which 15 lucky bastards who are allowed to do the
Oops, I'm not going to edit that out. The lucky ones. So, Lynn, how are you going to spend the rest of the week? When do you have to fly out again?
We leave Saturday straight after the Kerr, and then we arrive back in Germany Sunday morning, and then literally repack the suitcases and head home for the wedding on the Sunday night. So it's no mucking around for us. So I'm going to look forward and enjoy the special and then the Kerr, and hopefully do a bit of sightseeing around Kentucky and Lexington and see all the sights. So I'm looking forward to that. Make it a real experience, not just live in the bubble that is the WEG.
Yeah, absolutely. Good to take advantage of the area as well. What I was going to say, of course, when you mentioned the wedding, you had mentioned it on the show before, Patrick, how much you were obviously looking forward to that. Of course, there's a big smile in his face. If only we could capture a smile on the radio. This is the one.
Kermit the Frog. It's not green.
Will you be riding your horse? That was the question I wanted to ask. Will you do much with your horses now every day, or do you just a cant around the steeplechase course?
I can't run the steeplechase. I will, for my sake, as well as Lyndall, I think I speak for both. So we will give the horses, of course, a little bit of free time.
Right.
Just move them, let them be happy. They also have a long flight back home.
Sure.
And then when we get back from a nice, lovely wedding and a nice, lovely honeymoon, then we start again. And then the winter season comes, and we're back at square one.
Well, hopefully the horses will go away with the taste of the Kentucky bluegrass. You guys will go away with wonderful memories. Remind us when the wedding is, Patrick.
It's the 9th of October. It's the actual wedding day. The guests fly in on the 7th. On the 8th, we have a little get-togethering, a barbecue, and then we fly off to the Maldives for a week, and then we're back home on the 19th.
On the 19th, all right.
It's going to be amazing.
You're from Sydney, so are you going to tell us exactly where the wedding is going to be?
Yeah, that's easy. It's actually in the family. My family is involved with Hamilton Island. It was a business that they entered into after Rosemount Wines, and so my family have Hamilton Island. Great spot, Great Barrier Reef, recommend it. But
oh, wonderful!
So we have a 6-star resort on the island, and so we're very lucky that my grandfather gave us that pocket of the island to have for the wedding. So we have all of our family and closest friends all together in one place.
That's lovely.
3 days to really celebrate and have a nice time and relax. And
absolutely. And just relax from the experience of the World Equestrian Games. It didn't go quite as well as you would have done, but taking away, as you say, wonderful memories and looking forward to your wedding. So we want to wish you all the very best with that. Congratulations again to both of you on that upcoming wedding, and big smile on Patrick's face. I wish I could capture it. And thank you so much for joining us on the show again. I hope you'll come back as husband and wife.
We will definitely be back as husband and wife, and we're thrilled to be here, and thanks, Chris, again for having us.
Yeah,
it's a great time here.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, thanks again, both of you. We'll be back tomorrow with, as I said, a roundup of the Grand Prix special and yet more guests here on the Dressage Radio. So until then, it's Chris Stafford signing off from the Kentucky Horse Park and the Alltech FEI World Equestrian Games. Thank you all for listening around the world, and don't forget to come back tomorrow for yet more coverage. We'll look forward to talking to you then. You can find our show notes at dressageradio.com. You can visit us on Facebook, we have a fan page there, or follow us on Twitter at Horse Radio and Chris E. Stafford. You can send me an email at chris@horseradionetwork.com or leave us a voicemail at 270-803-0025. Our thanks again to all our sponsors here and our backstage crew.